Hello and welcome to part 6 of my 6-part Blu-ray collection update for 2021. Holy shit, finally at the end of this thing. And this is why I didn't do it all in one video, because holy shit, it would have taken a lifetime, and I'm not used to compiling 4 months worth of purchases into a kind of single stretch of filming in terms of I had to take a break and do these 6 videos in different chunks. Now, Criterion. I've saved perhaps the best until last. So, who can really resist a Criterion sale? Not me. Not me. I kind of can, but it'd been a while since I bought some, and there's a 2 for 25 deal, or there was a 2 for 25 deal, and, you know, £12.50 for a Criterion, it's like they're giving it away. Like, there's just, you know, coming from a world where you had to import Criterions from outside the UK, outside Norway when I lived there for 5 years, and, you know, it felt great to get a Criterion for $20. That was a great price, you know. Then you add the shipping on top of it, and it's still a little bit more than that. So, you know, now that we're getting to the point where we can get a nice, you know, standard Criterion edition in some of these UK deals for like £12.50 is incredible. It still is, and like, you need to kind of pinch yourself and remind yourself of that. And also, it was the 5-year anniversary this week of the Criterion collection hitting the shores of the United Kingdom, and so it felt kind of appropriate and nice to reflect on the fact that we even have the Criterion collection in the UK. It's crazy that they're still going and they're still releasing things and that there's a market for it. Again, people say physical media is dead. Criterion are releasing multiple titles a month. Do they need to? I don't know. They must be selling, right? And even stuff like Kagemusha, a really old Criterion Blu-ray release, just came out recently. So we're getting all these older ones coming over as well as some of the new ones. So it's really, really cool. And, you know, even a week before the announcement was made or the news broke that Criterion was coming to the UK, I never would have believed or expected that we'd get this. And so it's really cool. Anyway, let's just dive into some of the stack I've got here. The first one, I have 10 overall. The first one is a Claire Denis film. I'm going to assume it's not Claire Denis. And I don't know how to pronounce the title, Beau Travail. I really have no idea. I only know that this is in the book, 1,000 Movies You Must See Before You Die, so it's a pure blind buy for me. I don't think I've seen anything else from Claire Denis, and, you know, I kind of want to go in blind, and it's one of those situations where I know that if I don't like it, I'll be able to sell it on to someone who does enjoy it and is a collector of the Criterion collection, but I've heard it's visually quite interesting. But apart from that, I don't know anything about the story. And the kind of the front image there is very arresting, to say the least. So that's the first one there, and that is spine number 1042. Wait, really? 1042? This is a fairly new release then, actually, a new addition to the collection. We'll go through the spine numbers as we go through. This is more of an early one, spine number 600, and this is Anatomy of a Murder. I remember looking at this maybe 8 years ago when I was looking at the 50% off sale. This is probably the first 50% off sale I was looking at that I think Robbie Webster helped me out with way back when. And this is one of the ones that jumped out to me from the cover to the cast. I don't know who directed this. Who was the director of this one? Otto Preminger. Interesting. Wild. So we have a kind of like a court case film. So there's a lawyer played by James Stewart. It's just Jimmy fucking Stewart. You know, what more do you really need? And it sounds like a fairly provoking story and case. And he has to, you know, take on the case. And just, I don't need anything more. James Stewart, you know, courtroom drama. I'm all in on it. It's a long film too, almost 3 hours in length. And, you know, I just feel like I'm really going to dig this one. I love James Stewart. A lot of extras by the look of it as well, which is really cool, but the film itself is one that I've wanted to see for a very long time, so I'm excited to get to that one. And as always, let me know your thoughts on any of these films if you have seen them. And again, like I've been saying in the past 5 videos, I am trying to mix stuff that I have seen, stuff that I haven't, so with that in mind, this is one that I absolutely had to buy, purely based on one 27-minute film, and that film is called La Jetée, the Pier. Might be the incorrect pronunciation, but La Jetée and Sans Soleil. So we have two films by Chris Marker, and I've seen The Pier, which is a phenomenal 27-minute short film, a science fiction film, and it's all told through still images. There's almost no moving images in the film, and the one time you do see something move, it's really breathtaking, I think. We reviewed this for the Epic Film Challenge too. Connie was not a big fan. I absolutely loved it. The way you could transport someone with imagery like that was really impressive to me. It's just fantastic. It was revolutionary, it felt like. It felt like it harkened back to a simpler way of storytelling through narration, but it's a dreamlike quality to it where I almost felt like I fell asleep and dreamed while I was watching it, like lucidly. It was very strange, but I absolutely loved the film. Definitely want to see it in high definition, best possible quality. And then you have another film that he made called Sans Soleil from 1983. I don't know anything about it, and I don't really need to. This feels very weighty, so there's probably a nicely sized booklet inside. But I believe there is, a 6-minute film that he made with some other people, so that's cool. I love like short films as extras by the directors in question. And there is a look at two excerpts from the French television series Court Circuit, which looks at the David Bowie music video that is inspired by The Pier, which is interesting. So, and I know that short film has been very influential on a lot of people and certainly inspired the film 12 Monkeys by Terry Gilliam, which I love, and that is spine number 387. So it probably, I would say, I think that Blu-ray is fairly new, so I think it must have been out on DVD before that to have the lower spine number. This spine number is 956. And it is a film by Abbas Kiarostami, the Iranian filmmaker, and it is his final film, 24 Frames. I've watched some of this on the Criterion channel. I was very drawn into it and kind of slightly mesmerized and also wondering, will I be able to sit through 2 hours of this? So I'm not sure if it is 24 different settings, but it's basically you have an image on screen as if, I think it's kind of like a painting or like a photograph, that he might toy with the different looks, because I've only seen the first maybe 15-20 minutes of the film, but I essentially think there's 24 images throughout the film, and you watch it move. And I think the idea is to see what happens before and after a picture gets taken, and this was a posthumous film, I believe, that was finished after he had passed away. And in fact, there is an interview on the Blu-ray with his son Ahmed Kiarostami, who helped to finish the film after his father's death. Yeah, so there are, as it says here, 24 still images, most of them stark landscapes inhabited only by foraging birds and other wildlife, digitally animated, each one of them into its own subtly evolving 4.5-minute vignette, creating a series of poignant studies in movement, perception, and time that is also a sustained meditation on the process of image making. I just find the concept really interesting. I'm intrigued to see if it'll hold up as a full film, but I'm a huge fan of his work, and the fact that this is his final film is kind of poignant too, so I definitely wanted to pick it up and give it its full attention on Blu-ray in high definition. This is spine number 1055. I'd never really even heard of this one. It was just on the shelf, and I looked at it, read the back, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this a shot. I'm really interested in this, and the film is Girlfriends by Claudia Weil, if that's how you pronounce her name. So this is a film from 1978, independent movie, and it just the synopsis on the back just seemed very kind of slice of life, kind of woman who does this and does that and that kind of thing. And there's something here that says 1970s New York time capsule, 4K digital transfer of the film. Obviously it's probably going to look really cool, like a kind of, again, gritty kind of independent film. It's not going to look quite as polished, I'm assuming, as kind of bigger budgeted films and things like that. And there was something what was it that grabbed me on the back here? A remarkably authentic vision of female relationships. And I found that interesting from a female filmmaking perspective. There's a new interview with the director and with actors from the film. Lots of new interviews, and there's also some short films from the early 70s that she co-directed and directed herself. So there's just a lot of cool... Again, I love the kind of short films where you can see kind of the real genesis of those filmmakers. And I've never heard of it before, and it just jumped out to me. I just thought, yeah, I'm going to grab that. I'm going to check it out. 88 minutes. I love a good 90-minute movie, so That'll be another one to throw on, see if I like it. I mean, it's going to be hard to sell a Criterion. The only Criterion I have in my for sale pile is Rosemary's Baby, because it's a great film, but I don't know if I ever really want to watch it again, and I still feel a little bit uncertain about how I feel even owning a Polanski film, which, oh God, I know people go, oh, look at this guy trying to be, yeah, I get it, whatever. Say what you want, but I don't know, there's something uncomfortable about that for some reason. And I'm not usually like that. I do like to kind of, respect the work that the people on the film have done and try not to think too much about the director. But given Polanski, I don't know, it's tricky. But then I think I own, oh no, maybe I sold it, Carnage. I love Carnage. That's a great film. So that's tricky. Bit of a moral dilemma there, but Rosemary's Baby is one that I don't feel like I need in my collection. That's the only Criterion I think I've sold. Well, I haven't even sold it yet, but it's to sell. Anyway. Next up, we have spine number 979, and it's going to sound ridiculous. It's really going to sound bonkers, but I looked at this and I thought, you know what? That's not my kind of film. I'm not the biggest fan of this genre, but it's a classic film that I need to see, starring a classic pairing who I've never seen before. So I picked it up to see, do I really want this? And then I saw the kind of gold finish on the artwork, and I thought, oh, I gotta have this. How ridiculous is that? The gold finish on the fucking cover was the sealer of the deal. The film is Swing Time. I just love the way that gold lettering looks, and the gold C logo there, and the gold spine, and even like on the, it's such a classy, it just looks fucking classy. I don't know, I love it. But you got Fred Astaire, Ginger Rogers, and it's just one of those classic films that you hear about, and so I'm gonna watch it, and I'm gonna hope that I like it. But I kind of enjoy dipping my toes in stuff that I'm not too fond of. It's kind of a fun exercise for me, but also it's film history, and musicals are certainly not my forte. It's not that I hate musicals, I just don't gravitate towards them. I don't ever sit down and think, gosh, I want to watch a good musical. Never happens, but anyway, so now speaking of stuff that I have seen, and this is one where I was like, do I need to get this? Because I have seen it, I probably won't watch it anytime soon, but it's one that is an absolute must in my collection. I have to put this film in my collection. If I was to curate my collection into films that are only like masterpieces, this would be an absolute must. And ultimately I needed to make up one more for the 2 for 25. So this is spine number 573. And also features a feature documentary about the director. That was also another thing that pulled me into it. But, the film itself is just, what a film. It is Satyajit Ray's The Music Room. This is a phenomenal. I've done a review of this if you want to go check that out. But it's about this. I forget kind of the terms for kind of the characters and stuff. There's a fallen aristocrat. That kind of sums him up pretty well. It's this guy who lives in this palace, and he's like past his time, and everything is crumbling around him, and he's still holding on to that kind of the social power he used to have. And the music room is this place which is like a real kind of I don't know, point of power, where you kind of hold these little like kind of gatherings, and you bring musicians in, and it's very opulent and stuff, and it's just such an interesting film psychologically. And it's just this the portrait of a crumbling man, and it's just fantastic. Oh, what a film, The Music Room. And this feels, I've got a nice weighty feel to it, so it's probably like a nice booklet in there as well. But yeah, there is a 1984 feature documentary about Satyajit Ray, and a few other interviews and things like that. But just the film itself is, love it, absolutely love it. This one goes on the pile of Tarkovsky films I've never seen, which is all of them. But wait, no, it's not. I have seen one. I have seen what is it called? It's on the tip of my tongue. I think shit. What is that? I've watched it. It's a 3-hour epic, and it's about the guy. What is his name? It's gone. It's gone. It's completely gone. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's gone again. We'll get through this. The film that I've bought now is Ivan's Childhood, and they just announced Mirror this month for, I don't know, it'll probably be like maybe June, July. So they're really getting all the Tarkovsky films out there. I own Stalker and Solaris. yeah, so this just goes on with that. Then Mirror will be there, and the other one is, what is it? It's on the tip of my tongue. I don't know if it's released in the UK yet, but what is that film? It's about the painter. You know the one. Did with the black. Anyway, Ivan's Childhood. I have heard so little about this. That's kind of the catchphrase. I've heard so many good things about this, but I've heard nothing about this. Don't know anything about it. Nothing. It's got some extras. Know nothing about it. 95 minutes, 1962. I don't know. But that film I have seen of Tarkovsky was enough for me to say I need to see all of his films. That's just a given. And so I'll throw it in there. For £12.50, I will buy another Tarkovsky film. And again, if I grow to hate his films, I can sell these things. But yeah, what is it? Is it Andrei? Because his name is Andrei Tarkovsky, right? And I feel like the film is Andrei something. Andrei, I'm just going to have to look it up. It is going to bug me too much. I need to do it in the video. It's like an itch I need to scratch. It's like a plaster I need to peel off, ripping off the Band-Aid, so to speak. Is it going to come to me before I search it up? I don't know. All right, let's just do it. And I hate kind of bringing the videos to a standstill like this, right? Andrei Tarkovsky. What is it? Andrei Rublev. I knew that Andrei was in the bloody title. That probably would have never come to me. Rublev. Yeah, I don't know. Just the Andrei was sticking out in my head. And Andrei, I don't know how you pronounce it properly, but there we go. So Andrei Rublev, I've seen. Didn't love it, but there's some incredible imagery in it. And the one thing that really stands out to me about that film, aside from the fucking horse that they brutally murdered in the film, and I fucking hated that, is the shot of the young boy, well, one of the characters, no spoilers, who gets shot. I believe he gets shot with an arrow or something similar, and he dies and he falls over in slow motion into a stream, I think. It's been years since I've seen it, but it was just, and it's shot in slow motion. And it's just one of the most effective death scenes I've ever seen. It's just really burned into my brain. Right, 2 more to go, and we now enter the realm of the Fancy Pants Digipack editions. So we have a mix. We have one that I've seen, one that I haven't. This one is another must kind of own for me, and I was really happy to see that this got a release, considering it was a film that went straight to Netflix, and it is, of course, The Irishman. So the 3 big ones now from Netflix, Roma, Marriage Story, and The Irishman, came out on Criterion. I now have all 3 of them. I love this film. I really, really do. I can't wait to see it again. It's obviously going to be difficult to carve out 3 hours of my life to watch it again, because just time is of the essence these days. But yeah, we got De Niro, Pacino, Pesci. I don't think I ever reviewed this film, but I talked about it quite a bit in my RazorwireReviews 2019 Film Awards videos, and probably my top 10 or top 20, I would say, of 2000. It wasn't like one of the absolute best films of the year, but it is fantastic. It's just a great sprawling epic, and I love Joe Pesci's performance. What a way to cast someone against type. This kind of loud, motor mouth kind of guy who plays pretty much the same kind of character in most of the films that he does. He's always this, blabbermouth and very intense and kind of high energy. And here he is just this cool, calm, collected, precise, says it like it is, it's what it is. And he is so menacing with saying very little, or with, saying things in such a calm way. And there's so much intent behind what he says. Brilliant. De Niro's pretty damn good. Pacino's great. It's Harvey Keitel. It's a great cast. Anna Paquin does so much with so little. That's really a phrase that I should apply. If there's any actor in the film who I should say they do so much without saying very much, it's Anna Paquin. And that's kind of a source of controversy, because they're like, well, why didn't the woman get many lines? But sometimes you don't need it. Like, you just look at her face and she tells such a fucking story. So this is a really nice release. I love the design on the front there, and that carries over that style to the digipack, and you have a great portrait of all 3 of the main characters. De Niro there, Pesci, and then of course Pacino. And the booklet has the kind of true title of the movie, I would say, because it doesn't ever say The Irishman in the actual movie. It just comes up, I Heard You Paint Houses, which is of course the title of the book that the film was based on. The digital de-aging effects, they're kind of, you get used to them, and I was reading the booklet, and the booklet is it's interesting, because the booklet starts to, the essay in the book was only I think the booklet is literally just one essay, which is kind of a shame. And even some of the extras, I feel like I think there's a second disc. I'm not sure how lengthy the extras are, but it seems like there's a lot. But I have a feeling there could be more. Like I would love. There's so much they could go into with this. But yeah, and there's a newly edited roundtable which was originally appeared on Netflix, I believe, with the three main cast members and Scorsese. But yeah, so this is a 4K digital master approved by Martin Scorsese. He filmed it with a mixture of film and digital. I think all the de-aging stuff was shot digitally, so a lot of it is not going to look as nice as the film stuff, I'm assuming. But it's I feel like these kinds of films need to get physical media releases because again with Netflix it depends on the time of the day on how good the quality you might get or your internet connection. So I think some of these films they just really need that stable, physical media based bitrate. Anyway, in the booklet the guy seems to be kind of knocking the digital effects as being a little bit fake or plasticky, but then he kind of makes this kind of case of like, and that works in kind of the way that memory works. And it's like, nah, come on, like there's no way they went, okay, we're going to do this sprawling saga that goes decades, we're going to make De Niro, Pacino and Pesci look younger, and the great thing is it's not going to look perfect, and that'll be part of the story and how it's like a hazy memory like thing where the faces are kind of, you're not quite. No, I don't think that's the case at all. But I will say, when you're watching a 3-hour movie, you kind of forget about it a little bit. I mean, that opening scene when De Niro, not the opening scene, but one of the scenes in the first half hour of the film when De Niro beats up the shopkeeper, and it's very clearly a 70-year-old man stumbling around, kicking someone. I just think use a stunt double for that shot. You need to show him his physicality as a 30-year-old man or however old he was supposed to be. But yeah, that was the one real misstep of the film, was just that one shot, because it's laughable. And you kind of get off on the wrong foot, no pun intended. But regardless, I think that it's a fantastic film. And finally, we have a film from a director who I've become increasingly fascinated by, purely based on the merit of one film, really. And that film is The Tree of Life, which I watched last year and filmed a very lengthy review for, which you still won't see for many months to come because it's the 300th episode of the Epic Film Challenge 2. But The Tree of Life, spoilers for me, is one of the best films I think I've ever seen. So now I want to see more Terrence Malick stuff. I've seen The Tree of Life, I've seen Badlands, so quite a gap there. So there are Days of Heaven I own. I should watch that soon. But this one is another stacked release of one of his films with multiple cuts. It is The New World. Really not my kind of film, my go-to film. This kind of period, 17th century kind of, But I think that knowing his flair for the visual, I'm really intrigued by this, and I just love the fact that it's got like it's got the 172-minute extended cut of the film, supervised by Emmanuel Lubezki, the cinematographer, supervised by Terrence Malick, and then you have 135-minute theatrical cut, 150-minute first cut of the film, so it's just really extensive. 2 discs, I believe. Or 3 discs, actually. It's his director-approved 3-disc edition, I think. Let's just crack into this and have a look so we can round this thing off. But let me know what you think of this film if you have seen it. I know Colin Farrell is in it, right? Yeah, so this really wasn't one that I, was going to be like, okay, I'm going to read up on this first. No, it's Terrence Malick. A stacked release like this, I don't want to say worth supporting because it's Criterion. I don't know. I feel like they're going to do fine. But, I just love seeing these really extensive releases where the film gets multiple cuts and stuff and gets such lavish treatment. So, yeah, this is a really nice slipcase. I do wish Criterion would do the harder, outer boxes, and I think most people are in agreement there because they're so flimsy. So, yeah, I think this is actually a 3-discer. So, yeah, that's fantastic. So you get all 3 cuts on a separate disc. I fully approve of that decision. I think it's the right way to go. You never want to kind of shoehorn in multiple cuts on the same disc unless you can really get the seamless branching down perfect. But yeah, just seeing shots like this in the booklet gets me kind of excited about the way the film's going to look visually. Don't know anything about the story. I know Christian Bale is also in it, so it's just one of those things, again, that I'll just dive into when the time is right. And I do like to, when I see these things in store, and I certainly wouldn't do it often because of the price point, I do feel like it's worth, you know, if you see one of these on the shelf, a Criterion edition that's a digipack. My voice is going, excuse me. And you see it on the shelf as in good quality, I feel like it's worth picking up, because let me just cough a second off camera. There we go. I think. I don't know. Filming 6 videos in one day is clearly not good on my voice. If you see one of these on the shelf and it's in good condition, I feel like you don't need to buy it, but it's like an opportunity, because I really hesitate on buying these things online on Amazon, because they can arrive crushed and damaged and God knows what. And I like to get these in the nicest condition that I can get them in. But of course the film is the thing that matters most, but it really is nice when you do have, you know, a nice pristine version of a really nicely produced piece, which really makes me worry about the Wong Kar-wai box set, which looks, you know, very cool and unique, but flimsy as fuck, and it looks like it's going to fall apart if you just look at it or sneeze. So I don't know if I'll really get that one, even though I'm really intrigued about the films. It's very expensive, the Wong Kar-wai set, but the packaging looks problematic from a, I don't know, wear and tear perspective. Anyway, so there we go, 10 Criterions. Let me know if you've seen any of them, any thoughts that you have. If you've been buying any Criterions lately, if you got anything in the 2 for $25 sale. It's the 5-year anniversary of Criterion in the UK. What are some of your favorite Criterion releases, whether they're the UK ones or the US ones? I'd love to hear about them. I love Criterion Collection. I'm a big fan of them. And yeah, so thank you for watching. And if you watched all 6 parts, thank you extra. And I'll see you very soon, hopefully with a Conquering My Collection update video, where I'll talk about a lot of the Blu-rays I've watched from my collection and kind of conquered them and watched them for the first time, which I'm excited about getting to. I don't know when these videos will go up, but it's the 10-year anniversary of the channel. That's a milestone for me, and I'm hoping to get the look back video, which would be a huge like feature-length compilation video of clips from like all 10 years. So at some point that will be going up, and I'm thinking probably now it won't be until May, maybe even June. But you know, like all the things, all the videos I promised that are going to come, it's going to be a few months later than I planned. But hopefully it'll be enjoyable, and it's been fun doing a Blu-ray update again, even if it was in six parts and stuff. But yeah, it's been an interesting mix of titles and a lot of stuff that I have seen before and I really wanted in my collection, so I feel good about that. And the blind buys are ones that I'm really intrigued about too. So apart from the Poundland stuff, like, you know, We're the Millers and, you know, certain films like that where it's like, yeah, I don't need that in my collection. But apart from the Poundland, well, say that Poundland, I got the Shaun the Sheep film, which I'm really excited about, and the, you know, the Lion King 2 and 3. I'm not hugely excited about those, but I'm glad to get them for £2, including Wreck-It Ralph. So, you know, there's been good stuff in Poundland, but for the most part, this update, overall 6 videos, I'm very excited about the things that I have. I just need to make sure I watch them. But a lot of it I'm just excited to have, because I know that when the moment is right, it's going to be perfect, and I'll have it there in a really nice edition. So that's, to me, what collecting is all about, is kind of keeping the films kind of on the shelf for the right possible moment when, you know, you really feel like watching something. But then there is always that thing when you have a lot of films and you think, oh, I'd love to watch that now, but do I really want to watch that one when there could be this one? And you look around and you just, you know, you feel like the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, the camera panning back, and you're just alone with all these discs, and it's just overwhelming. Anyway, I'm rambling now. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you mercifully in the next video.
It's alright by me. Apart from the fact he throws cans and calling into a tree. Yeah, he's really cool. Yeah, he's really cool. But he's not quite as cool as you.